Let's jump into it because the Epstein stuff has been all over the place. Are you guys burnt out on the Epstein talk yet?
Oh, no, the opposite.
So it's the more that this goes on, the longer that this drags out, the less information that is released, and the more that you get teased, the more you're into it.
Yeah, no, they're like edging the hell out of us with it. Like everything that comes out from them, I think it's to distract us from that now. Like his health thing, I think that's a distraction. The Obama Russia thing, distraction.
I will say on the health thing, it is nice to see that the president gets called out on something. People started pointing out that he had the swelling of the ankles. There was the photo where you can clearly see his ankles looking thicker. And rather than try and cover it up or lie to us or call it cheap fakes or try and gaslight us, the administration came out and goes, look, he's got deep vein thrombosis or whatever.
No, it's not deep vein thrombosis. That would be bad.
Okay.
I think it's just like just collecting a fluid. It happens to me. Like sometimes, when your socks are on and if you've been exercising
or flying.
It's at least they've addressed it, and don't deny it, although it's tough to deny a photo, but it's a non-issue despite people's death wishes.
Think about all the times that they've like withheld stuff like that, or he's like, oh yeah, my doctor said I had the most perfect physical ever. I'm in perfect physical health. So he hates like portraying weakness at all, but now he lets it out because he's coming out that he might be involved with Epstein. And
whatnot. But I'd rather them come out and tell us, hey, he's got this medical condition than do what they did for the past 5 years and continue to do right now when it comes to Joe Biden's cognitive decline. You see the chief of staff for Joe Biden, Anthony Bernal, going up and claiming the fifth, pleading the fifth. You've seen people from the administration pleading the fifth and not admitting to what was going on behind the scenes when it came to Biden's cognitive decline. And then you see Tucker, and we'll play Hunter comes out this week and says, he was tired because of Ambien during the debate. No, Joe Biden has dementia. We all watched it. We called it. We talked about it for 4 years, and they lied to us and gaslit us and told us we were the crazy ones for thinking that. At least this administration goes, hey, he's got a medical condition. Here it is. It's rather common among people his age. It can be treated. It's not lethal, but that's what's going on. I prefer that over the bullshit that we dealt with for the past 4 years.
Yeah. Destiny came out, not to mention Destiny on this show, comes out and calls Trump a fat F-U-C-K. And I was like, the dude is 79 years old, looks very good, is in good mental fitness. Like nobody's questioning that. Yeah. Like people don't understand what life is. Nearing 80 years old, you're lucky to be alive. You've already outlived most people, but you're gonna have issues. So you're not gonna look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club at 80 to be alive, playing golf, cognitively able, fit. He's a mark of success of health. And for this Destiny marshmallow boy to call him a fat F-U-C-K. That one put me over
Not
the
the
edge
only person to do that. Connor, I just sent you a video. If you could pull this video up, we'll play this video as we jump into the story. But there's another conservative commentator who went on a rant about Donald Trump. Do you know who I'm talking about? Who?
I see him on your screen.
Oh, okay. Nick Fuentes. So I just sent Connor the video. Connor, if you could pull this up real quick and play this. So Nick Fuentes was upset about the Epstein files as well, and he went off on Trump. In fact, we have Laura Loomer on the podcast. I believe it went out this morning, correct? The Laura Loomer episode with PBD, where she calls out. So if you have not watched it, go and watch today's PBD podcast with Laura Loomer. It's out now. But Laura Loomer gets into all of the people who were pro-Trump 2016 to the Epstein files, and then the people that have shifted post-Epstein files tease to now. And she goes all in about how these people owe their careers to Donald Trump. But here's Nick Fuentes. Here's what he had to say about Donald Trump when it comes to the Epstein files. I believe this was last week.
And now he says, if you're not on board with the Epstein cover-up, I don't want your support. You're a weakling. Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were. When we look back in history, we will see Trump as a scam artist who served as a vehicle for this rather than the other way around. We were not the vehicle for Trump. Trump was the vehicle for all of us.
Brandon, your commentary.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with, a good amount of what he's saying there. That like I think Trump has sold out to a degree to like the deep state to say, okay, I'll only go like 10% as hard as I was saying I was going to go, so that I could kind of appease you and you'll let me get by without trying to take me out or anything like that. Because I mean, I think we're kind of just
They shot him in the face.
I mean,
They shot him in the face.
yes, you would think he'd want to get back at them.
I don't disagree.
That's my biggest opposition to him right now is that he's not dismantling anything. Like, what big changes have we had? Like, we're basically staying in place, slightly fixing things, but there's no big sweeping home runs that he's had.
There's two things. First of all, for Nick Fuentes to call the president fat, I mean, I'm not joking. I don't think they'll let Trump go to a cage match. I would put money on Trump beating the crap out of Nick Fuentes in a UFC fight.
Yeah, he's
Set
tiny.
that aside. Like, it takes call someone fat when you're 110 pounds soaking wet. Maybe he's bigger.
Have you ever? I've had the opportunity to shake the president's hand. Have you ever shook?
No. I've introduced him in Mar-a-Lago, but I've never made physical contact with the president.
So okay, don't say it like that. Sorry, we all can't be in the New York Times and Rolling Stone, David. No, but when he came in for the PBD podcast afterwards, he came up and shook my hand. It wasn't like I went to him to shake his hand. I was just in the room pulling up clips on the computer during the episode. He liked one of the charts that I pulled up, came up, pulled me in, and he did the Trump pull. I have a video of it because it was filmed off, and it's one of the highlights of my career. But he does the pull. And so when you see the pull, like, I always joke around, like, oh, that's funny. People play into it. No, it's real. He grabbed me and then pulled me in. And at this point, like, I'm a little bit thinner now than I was then, but I was pushing 225 at 5'4". So I'm like a fucking boulder. Just a big, chubby, fat tub of lard. And he grabbed me and moved me feet. So to your point, yeah, Trump, I believe, even though he's, what, 70?
79.
79, I believe that he's still got some strength to him and stamina to him.
But now, to the substance of what Fuentes is saying, you know, he's right if you're saying that after it's over, after the chapter's over and he hasn't done anything. Right now, he's made a mistake on Epstein. To say that the MAGA movement was a fraud, first of all, I think that might be more of a confession through projection than an assessment of the MAGA movement, because the story is not yet finished. This has been an abject failure, the rollout of the Epstein debacle. I think he's trying to right that ship right now. Pam Bondi seems to be on the right track to make amends for the errors that have been made, but to say that the movement was a fraud and he hasn't done, he's 6 months into his second term. If nothing has changed in the next 3.5 years, then I'll go with the conclusion he failed at delivering what he said he was going to deliver. But it's premature now. You put the pressure on when he's making a mistake, but that might be just a little sensational.
I think they're being too hard on Trump. All right, I mean. I'm sick and tired of the whole Epstein thing, but at the same time, I think it's a moral obligation to keep the pressure up. Like, I think it's on all of us that have access to a camera to not let this go, all right? I think my buddy here, not my buddy, Nick Fuentes, is going way too far. Calling the president fat, it doesn't do anything for the conversation, you know? Like, it doesn't push anything. But yeah, I mean, there's smaller things that he got in super right. Like, I don't know if you guys like cars, all right? With the big, beautiful bill, there was a thing called the CAFE regulation, is CAFE, and then made all American car manufacturers not being able to build big, beautiful V8 engines, all right? Because they had a quota of how many, like, gas guzzlers they can build to, like, economy cars. So probably in the next year and the next 2 years, we're going to see American muscle come back full force. I love American muscle. I love that he changed the straws in McDonald's, things that actually affect my life, you know. He is out there looking for the children. 300,000 children are missing. They already got 10,000 back. That's a big win. I think what he's doing on immigration, especially in Minnesota, like I went there 2-3 weeks ago. I thought I booked a ticket to the Middle East, not the Midwest. It was unbelievable. So let him cook. Let him cook a little bit. I think this is very important. Like, it's probably like, I don't know, it's in my top 3 list of things that they need to, like, do, because there's not only Epstein, like, the deep state is out there, and this will open up a lot of, you know, like, tangents that we want to know about.
I listened, and we'll jump into the birthday card here, but I listened to the 3-hour deep dive that Tucker Carlson did with Daryl Cooper.
What a wonderful interview.
It's really interesting. God. If you have not had the chance to go and watch it, you should go and watch it. If you need to, watch it on double speed just so you can get through it. But the information that they're laying out, what's super interesting is there are these decades when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein's life, right? You know that he worked at the Dalton School in the 70s, but that was only 2 years. Where did the other 8 years in the 70s go? No one knows. You know he works at Bear Stearns in the 80s, but that was only for 4 years. So where is Jeffrey Epstein for the other 6 years? You know about his activities with Les Wexner, Leon Black. Who else gave him money?
Mossad.
And we'll get into that. But so you know that there's these activities in the 90s, but you're leaving all of this time frame unaccounted for where Jeffrey Epstein is. Like my professional resume, 2008 working in radio in Philadelphia, 2009 working in radio in Atlantic City, 2010 through 14 working in radio in Tampa Bay, Florida, 2016 to 17 working in Tampa, still different radio station, 2017 to 2019 working in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, 2019, 2020 pandemic, I'm working remote from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. 2021 to 2024, I'm here with PBD. I know where I've been every single year over my professional career. Nobody knows where Jeffrey Epstein has been for chunks of decades of his life. What Daryl Cooper does really well is he doesn't pinpoint where Jeffrey Epstein is, but he pinpoints who Jeffrey Epstein meets along the way and the activities that those people are involved in during those time frames, and you can piece together what Jeffrey Epstein may have been involved in based on what his associates were doing and where they were. Like there's ties to, like I never knew about Robert Maxwell helping get the arms from Israel to Iran
you're
during
a virgin when it
I
comes
know,
to this.
but I had no idea that that's how Jeffrey Epstein actually met Ghislaine Maxwell's father, was because they needed someone to quietly move the money.
Yeah.
And so that's how he got involved in all of these arms trades. So you start looking at it and you go, okay, so I can't pinpoint that Jeffrey Epstein was here, but I know that Robert Maxwell was here. He knew Robert Maxwell from somebody from the CIA that he had met a few years earlier. So you start to put the puzzle pieces together, and what you realize is they did that, the octopus murders. Did you see that documentary on Netflix where it was the guy that was trying to chase what he called the octopus? It was the deep state.
Yeah.
Oh,
It has
watched it, yeah.
tentacles everywhere. And what you're starting to see as you're listening to this interview is Jeffrey Epstein's touching everything. He's touching international arms money. He's touching Les Wexner, who was the biggest retail clother in the United States at the time. And he takes control of that guy's entire fortune. So you start looking at it. So again, go back and listen to this. But it's really, really well done how they start to lay out the history of Jeffrey Epstein as opposed to the sensational stuff. His ties to Trump, his ties to Bill Clinton. No, it's the actual ties that matter that led him or created the avenue for him to be able to be in these powers of positions with powerful people.
Yeah, I did an interview with Mike Benz about a week and a half ago. Who goes? We had an hour and a half, went into the deep dive. But like acquiring the retail clothing is one thing. The shipping that goes in with retail clothing is the more relevant part. Acquiring an airline that had ties to CIA. The issue with Epstein, which might be what a lot of people are saying, is it might not have been blackmail sex videos of prominent politicians. It might be that intelligence knew what he was up to, covered it up because they were using him for their intelligence purposes, or worse, facilitated his disgusting perversions to keep using him for useful purposes for the intelligence. When Benz is explaining that in all of this, like it's nice to ask the FBI what they have on Epstein. Ask the CIA what they have on Epstein. Why haven't they run a name check on Epstein in intelligence databases, not just in FBI databases? Ooh. So and they haven't done that yet. So like, go check out my interview with Mike Benz on Viva Fry. But it was enlightening.
But there's a reason why they don't do that, and that's what I learned through the Daryl Cooper interview. Was they talk about when Jeffrey Epstein was raided in 2008 here in Palm Beach, Florida. He was tipped off by the local authorities, and they were able to move his computers out of the home. You would think that they still know where the computers are, but they never actually went and investigated the computers. And what Daryl Cooper talks about is that there was actual, like, instead of collecting evidence, there was the actual, hey, let's not collect that evidence because we don't want to know what's in there because we don't want a paper trail of it ever leading back. So they actually did the opposite of gathering intel. They did a cover-up of the intel so that they wouldn't have any of the stuff publicly in their records at any point. So it's plausible deniability. No, we didn't know that. We didn't check that. If you're going to investigate a guy or you're going after a guy that has 40 corroborating witnesses who claim that he's procuring underage prostitutes for back massages in his home, you think that guy probably dabbles in kiddie porn? I'm going to lean on the side of yes, he does. To not go and confiscate his devices and search through them, that was a conscious decision on the intelligence communities to not investigate Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, limited warrants, massive NPAs, non-prosecution agreements, or immunities for unindicted conspirators, known and unknown, unindicted co-conspirators, known and unknown. And the question was, why was Acosta's investigation so limited to that? Why were the warrants so limited to that? And why was he told, leave the guy alone, he's intelligence?
Did you know that Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer who signed the sweetheart deal, did you guys see this yesterday, Roy Black?
No.
The 80-year-old attorney who got the sweetheart deal with Alexander Acosta that got Jeffrey Epstein that weird home confinement where he'd have to report to jail for like 6 hours a day, and he had his own cell, and he could leave and go back to his home and work, and he'd have to spend 1 full day in jail a week. That attorney died.
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Come on.
Yesterday, right? Newsweek. Jeffrey Epstein's former attorney who secured plea deal dead at 80 4 hours ago from Newsweek.
Oh, my God.
What the fuck are we? So it becomes, there's all these weird things, and we'll get into Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's jump into the birthday card because Connor worked really hard on this presentation, and I hate to ignore it. We've been doing the podcast for 20 minutes, haven't gone to one slide.
It's a good story. It's a good story. The best story. Let's hear this.
Jeffrey Epstein, this is from the Wall Street Journal. This came out, last week? Because Trump filed the lawsuit on Friday, I believe.
Yep.
So this is Thursday maybe? Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him bawdy letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump. Now, if you believe the reporting from the Wall Street Journal, according to the letter that Jeffrey Epstein had received from Trump on his 50th birthday, it was typewritten text framed with a hand-drawn outline of a naked woman and concluded with the phrase, "Happy birthday." I love this because people have just been posting this, and I'm going to start using this. "And may every day be another wonderful secret." Does that sound like Trump to you guys? First of all, let's go around the room. Do you guys give any credence to this letter? Do you believe this letter existed? Do you believe that the Wall Street Journal is accurately reporting that Trump wrote this letter?
Oh, man, I think it'd be a big risk for them to put it out without
$10 billion risk, because that's what he's suing them for.
Yeah, so I think it's like 30% odds that's real.
30%, Humberto.
All right, when this broke, Brandon and I, we went for dinner at a beautiful establishment at 11 p.m., all right? And I was like, Brandon, let's role play this to see if it sounds like Trump, all right? So Brandon took Epstein, and I took Trump, and we read it, and it doesn't really sound like Trump, you know? Plus, I don't know, this guy, Rupert Murdoch, has all the motives to, put this thing out there. They never been friends, all right? He hated him so much that allegedly...
Connor, I'm going to send you a clip. Keep going.
He offered Tucker, a chance at the presidency. He was saying he was going to bankroll him.
I'm going to send you that clip as well.
Oh, you
Connor.
have the clip?
Yes.
So it's very weird. It's very easy to manufacture. So I'm at 1% just because of the legal liability.
The question is whether or not the document exists. Is there a
That's the
document
thing.
that looks like that? Okay, fine. It probably exists. Is
Show
it
it.
real that something Trump actually wrote? I have zero. I don't believe it for a second. First of all, even if it were published in 2003 or was from a birthday in 2003, a
18
binder for his
years.
birth, 5 years before the sweetheart plea deal, before whether or not anybody knew of Epstein's pedophilic criminal activity beforehand, you can assume people did, but you don't know that. Before any criminal conviction, even if it's true, it's nothing. They haven't shown a picture of the document. They haven't produced it in the context of that journal article. Whether or not someone else put this together and made it, asked Trump, here, sign something here, and then drew around it. There are so many plausible explanations that are more plausible than Trump writing something that doesn't sound like that. Ghislaine Maxwell herself might have put it together back in the day, and whatever. But the bottom line, I don't believe it for a second. Even if the document exists, I don't care that he wrote this letter in 2003. Suing them for $10 billion right now. There's a little bit of a procedural issue that apparently under Florida procedural law, you got to give 5 days notice to retract and correct before you file suit, and it could be a fatal flaw. They sued the next day. They didn't wait the 5 days. We'll see where that goes, but
Oh, wow.
They did it 4 days after?
No, he sued the next day after
Yeah,
publication.
Trump has filed a $10 billion libel lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch, Dow Jones, and 2 Wall Street Journal reporters, accusing them of publishing a false and malicious story to harm his character. Connor, could we show the other video that I sent, if you have it? Okay, so to your point, I went back and I started doing a deep dive into the Rupert Murdoch,
No
Donald
role-playing.
Trump. What's it? No role playing. And I certainly wouldn't have signed up to be the pedophile. Who chooses?
I didn't know.
I'll be Epstein in this one.
There was back and forth.
we
with that.
fought about
You
it.
guys fought about it.
Yeah.
And you ran. So you manhandled him and you made him be Epstein.
No. He was against it, but
No, it was out of pity.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
fine. So the Rupert Murdoch angle, this is very interesting. Do you remember, guys, in the beginning of this year, February, Donald Trump had a White House Oval Office press conference where he had not just Rupert Murdoch, but Larry Ellison in the room at the same time. And he praised them as the two most talented people in the world are with me in this room. But there's something very interesting that Trump does during this where I'm wondering if you guys pick this up as I did. Take a listen and tell me if you see anywhere where Rupert Murdoch may have been offended by Trump's comments while they were together in the Oval Office.
Bringing in the most talented people in the world. By the way, we just unrelated, but we have two of the most talented people in the world, the legendary Rupert Murdoch and Larry Ellison. So they are two legends in business, publishing, and probably every other. Rupert is Larry pretty much in a class by himself, right? I mean, although you may have a couple of bucks more, I don't know, but Rupert is in a class by himself. He's an amazing guy, and Larry is Larry. Larry's one of the most serious players anywhere in the world. So
we can cut it there.
It's an honor to have you. This has.
What I took away from that was when he said, "You may have some money, but Larry Ellison's got a little bit more." Is that a shot? Did anybody else pick that up, or am I just reading too much into it?
Nah.
Because when you're in these billionaire circles, I wonder if, like, I'm not in those circles. I don't know. But is it like a pissing contest? Oh, this guy's got more money than me. Well, I've got more assets than you. Do they give a shit? Or do you make so much money you don't give a fuck what anybody else
It's like
thinks?
10x more, though, with those two. It's like 20 versus 200.
Larry versus Rupert Murdoch?
Yeah.
And Larry Ellison's worth more? Yeah, because
like 200 billion.
Okay.
Well, Rogan always talks about how, like, in that milieu, it is a question of, like, oh, he's got $5 billion in a nice yacht, and I've only got $1 billion in a $300 million yacht. So I could see that as being the slight, not one that would warrant this. Like, first of all, Rupert Murdoch has never been a Trump fan, so the fact that there's a moment of support there, I wouldn't make much of it. But the bottom line, $10 billion. They ran with that story. The bigger issue here is that Trump has gotten sucked into this this Epstein debacle, and having not disclosed the documents now allows all of these bad faith players to make these types of innuendos and say, oh, this was in here, there's worse stuff incriminating Trump, and now Trump is like, maybe believes the fact that people are lying about what might be in the file that might incriminate him, even though he knows he's innocent.
So are we playing into the left's way of, if this is, as Trump says, this is a Democratic hoax created by James Comey, Barack Obama, the same talking points that he gives when he goes into those rants. And we'll get to Tulsi Gabbard's allegations and the 100 declassified files against Obama when it comes to Russiagate in a minute. But are we helping the left's narrative by continuing to propagate the story and continue to talk about it and continue the MAGA infighting? Because at this point, I have not seen the right this divided on an issue since the H-1B visa argument that happened. Was that towards the end of 2024?
That was
beginning?
Christmas 2024.
Yeah, so this is the first time where I've seen MAGA's fracture, and like that was a quick, we argued for like a few days about it, and then we moved on. But the Epstein stuff's not going away. Are we playing into the left's divide and conquer tactics by continuing to propagate this story by talking about
this
it?
transcends left and right, though. I think like everybody on the left and everybody on the right wants this to come out. And it's not even like MAGA's fracture. It's like everybody in the Republican base against Trump. Like who, like aside from people who are like Mark Levin and Adam and who else? Like people who are super defensive about the Mossad thing. Like those are the only people I see. Like, all right, move on, guys. Don't worry about. Oh, Adam Shapiro and Levin.
Can I be honest? I'm at the point where I'm like, I want to move on. I asked you guys if you're burnt out by it. I never answered the question that I asked you guys. I'm tired of this. I want the people that were victimized by Jeffrey Epstein to get the justice that they deserve. Whether that has Trump on the list, it has Bill Clinton on the list, or there is no fucking list. I just want those poor people that were victimized to get the justice that they have never been given. Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in 2019. Prior to that, what was his punishment for all of the horrific crimes that he subjected these 40 corroborating witnesses to at a minimum? A year in jail, house arrest. His public image was tarnished. these poor people, on top of being victimized, the entire world doesn't believe what they claimed happened to them. And so they're not only the victims of these horrific sex crimes, but now they're also labeled liars, crazy, kooks. It's horrific. Bill Clinton also involved in this Baldy letter book that they're talking about. According to the Daily Mail, this came out late last night. Bill Clinton sent warm and gushing letter for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday as Trump sues over claims he also wrote a Baldy note. Who came up with the Baldy?
No,
talking
body,
whatever. Why do they keep using that term? It's in every article that I've seen.
Because they got their talking point on how to frame this bullshit story. I'm sorry. First of all, I will come back to one thing. I don't think the MAGA base, I don't think conservatives are fractured over this. I think that the vast majority say this doesn't make sense. You promise transparency. We want transparency. You have a few talking heads, big accounts, and I'm not going to accuse them of being like paid for it. I think they think it's doing Trump a service and being loyal to Trump to say, guys, shut up about it. It's making them look bad. I think it's the exact opposite, that true loyalism right now is saying, you made a mistake. It's not undoable, so fix it. You promised it. I sincerely think Trump has been wrongly convinced that there has been falsified evidence that's going to incriminate him in the file because he knows that he's innocent. Nothing explains the about face of sort of saying, and nothing to see here, move on. Why are you guys making such a big story of this when Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Alina Habba, J.D. Vance, Don Trump Jr. for the last 5 years have been talking about it. So I don't think there's a fracture in the base. I think there's a disconnect in the upper echelons that they're realizing right now. That was the end of that thought.
No. I agree with him. There's a difference between friendship between men and women and women. All right, man friendship. If your girlfriend breaks up with you, your friend will go like, hey, you're a fucking slob. Go to the gym, get your money right. It's all your fucking fault because you're a fucking loser. That's like what a good friend will tell you, all right? Girls, when they break up...
You're saying if you get broken up with?
Yeah, if you get broken up with, if you get dumped, all right?
Yeah.
A good friend will tell you you're a fucking slob, you're 800 pounds, just get your shit together and you're going to find another baddie, all right? Mm-hmm. If you're a girl, the girl will come in, she'll be like, it's all his fault, you're perfect, and that's how because women hate each other, all right? They do.
They're catty.
Yeah.
They're catty. They hate each other. They won't give you life-changing advice. And I think sometimes true loyalty requires toughness. Now, I disagree that this is a bigger split than the H-1B visa. Like, I don't say it, even though, I don't say it, but I was observing and I have a list in my head. This guy's an HB1 guy. This guy is not, And I think those differences because that is very, it goes to the heart of the MAGA movement. Because MAGA is like America is not just the Constitution and land; it's also the people, So I don't know. I think that split is forever.
Okay, I know we're running out on time on this segment. Connor, if we could we show the clip of Tucker Carlson real quick? Back to your point about the Rupert Murdoch versus Donald Trump angle. Mm-hmm. Here's Tucker Carlson talking about how Fox News made a push for him to run for president against Donald Trump.
No one who hates Trump more than the Murdochs. I got fired in April of 2023. In May of 2023, they asked me to run for president against Trump and said they would back me. Obviously, I'm not running for any, I would never get elected anyway. Plus, I like Trump. I mean, the funny thing is, I actually genuinely, I get frustrated. I'm frustrated now.
So hold on. I'm sorry.
Trump.
You just said that and they asked you to run for president against Trump, the Murdochs.
Yeah.
Because they hate Trump.
Lachlan Murdoch said, you should run for president. We'll back you. The whole thing, the
whole Fox News apparatus.
And not just Fox, but, Wall Street Journal.
All of their papers,
Times
everything.
London. Absolutely, yeah, we'll back you.
And that came right from...
You should do that. I was already gone. They'd already canceled my show. I was still under contract, but they canceled my show. You should run. We support you. You should run.
We want to stop Trump.
Yeah, well, he was running.
I mean, it's the same Fox News that called Arizona for Biden, I think, if I'm not misremembering it.
Yeah.
It's the same Fox News that paid $787 million to Dominion, settling that $1.2 billion lawsuit. That looked like money laundering to me and not a bona fide settlement. Encouraging Tucker to run against Trump, split the MAGA base. Who would that help? Not conservatives.
Yeah.
Here's a clip real quick of Alex Jones and Tim Dillon, where Tim Dillon talks about an interesting revelation that J.D. Vance gave him while they were having dinner. It's weird to me that J.D. Vance is having dinner with Tim Dillon. Is that odd to anybody else? No, the vice president of the United States is sitting down with, and I love Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
A guy that tells dick jokes.
Apparently
I mean, elaborate dick jokes and conspiracy dick jokes.
And Cash too, apparally.
Cash was there as well?
Tim ratted him out. He said he was afraid they were going to have Indian food when they were having dinner.
That's highly racist and offensive. And I laugh at the absurdity of it, not the joke that was made. But we're going to play this because I do want to get into quickly the Department of Justice and what they're doing with Ghislaine Maxwell.
How crisp it looks, like Alex.
Yes.
Remote. It's beautiful.
Is that the same Alex Jones that we met when he came on the program 2 years ago?
It
Or
can't
is this
be.
a
Look at
different
his
Alex?
jaws more chiseled.
It's version 3.
Wait, you think it's a different Alex Jones too?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay, I didn't say.
Oh,
You
man.
say absolutely not, but these guys
I thought
actually
you were
do.
my camp.
No,
Yeah,
no,
we're number
actually,
3.
I actually think anybody who seriously thinks that is, crazy.
Come on.
There, I
Thank
said
you.
it.
I'm crazy.
I don't think you're crazy. I just do not believe in that. I don't believe Epstein's alive. I don't believe.
Come on.
I don't believe there are 6 versions of Joe Biden. I don't believe Fetterman is a different person.
I believe there's multiple versions of Trump.
No, they necessarily use body doubles like they've always used throughout history. But Alex Jones is the same Alex Jones. He just happens to have aged better, much like Roseanne Barr. It's not everybody who actually gets better looking the older they get.
Well, I think isn't what keeps the elites young
Yes.
Adrenochrome.
Alex Jones on adrenochrome?
He must be.
Or Ozempic. Which is it? Because it could be either one. Here's Tim Dillon talking about the revelation that J.D. Vance gave him at dinner.
I just want to add, when Bondi said we have 10,000 hours of video, she said we have 10,000 hours of video. I had dinner last week with the vice president. He told me that was commercial pornography. They do not have videos of any powerful person in a compromising position. That's the party line that they're going with. If that's the case, why would Pam Bondi call it evidence? Why would she say it's evidence? She's not an idiot. She's the attorney general. Why would she say she has files on her desk if none of these implicated anybody? It just feels like they're covering something for sure, 100%. And I feel like they're telling a story, and the story doesn't make any sense.
What the hell was that?
He's having a cigarette. Is
he vaping? I love
No,
the
that's not
sunglasses,
baby.
by the
That's
way.
a cigarette.
I've never seen him do that
I didn't know
before.
Alex Jones smokes.
Oh, well, the new one does. The old one didn't. I love that he wears glasses like that. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
Stunner shades. That's Hollywood, baby. There's a part of this where it's show business. You got to lean into the show business. Here's Mike. Pronounce the last name?
Cernovich. He made it onto the list of Jews on the internet, despite him and Luke
Let's
Rudkowski.
stop
Despite
keeping lists of Jews. I don't think
He's
that's
not-
ever worked out in history.
Cernovich. The irony is that Cernovich and Rudkowski made the list with the Shapiros, with the Vivas, and the others. They're not Jewish. They're actually quite Polish.
I respect what he has to say here. This is kind of leaning into my whole point about this entire thing, where they talk about, well, we can't release the emails or we can't release the Epstein list because Epstein did business with a lot of people, and there might be people that did business with Epstein that weren't implicated in these horrific sex crimes. For me, I don't care. I don't care if you were involved or not. I want to know who his associates are. I want to know why they were meeting with him. And then those people should have to answer for why they had a relationship with a pedophile. Now, I give more lenience to the people that were friendly and doing business with Jeffrey Epstein prior to his 2008 conviction. But anybody that associated with Jeffrey Epstein, Ehud Barak, Prince Andrew, who were photographed leaving Epstein's apartment, being with Epstein post-conviction, those people are the ones who have to answer for their relationship with him. But here's what Chernovic had to say.
You mispronounced his
We
name.
have Podesta's emails. I want every email from Epstein. Why not? Why not? Oh, it might embarrass people. I don't care. Don't care. We don't care now anymore. We're done. And I want his every email he ever sent. I want that out. I want every financial transaction sent. I want it. I want to know. Embarrass the people? Sure. There are probably people who didn't know who he was or that were just doing normal business. I've invested in companies before. Who knows? Right? But one company might have a bad guy you don't know about, but you just whatever. Sorry, we don't get to play these little games anymore. It's the Epstein matter. I want to see every transaction, every wire transaction to and from, and then if it embarrasses people, great. Then you can just explain yourself. right? You have emails from Epstein, great. You can just explain yourself. That's fine. We're beyond giving people all this time to go through everything to protect everybody's feelings. No, we don't have time anymore.
Yeah,
he's right, but also the explanation doesn't make sense. The black book is out. We know people are in the black book who were not up to no good. We know who went to Diddy parties and it carried the exact same sort of social disease. Like, oh, you went to a Diddy party, you must have been doing some freaky deaky freak offs. Everyone who went to Epstein's island, the public is entitled to know who they were, and they can defend themselves. And if it's good faith error that they went there and didn't know what was going on, fine. But the idea that you don't want to embarrass them when, under other circumstances, the names, A, are already out. Everyone in that black book is already out. B, everyone was tying who went to P. Diddy parties for the exact same type of public ridicule. The explanation doesn't make sense except for reasons of nefariousness, cover-ups.
Do you guys want... when I listened to the Daryl Cooper interview, what Daryl Cooper said is people think that there's some safe that has a list of all of Jeffrey Epstein's clients' names, and the FBI is going to crack that safe, and then they're going to open up the safe, they're going to pull out the list, and then they're going to publish it for the world to see. And he goes, that doesn't exist. That's not how it's going to happen. Do you guys want the actual associates, whether they were implicated in child trafficking crimes or not? Do you think those names should be made public and their relationships with Jeffrey Epstein be brought to the public's attention so the public can demand answers from those people? Or do you think that we do need to protect individuals who had relationships with Epstein that may have not been nefarious in activities, but they just had a relationship with him? You want the names out or no?
Yeah, no, definitely, because I think we need to know like who has like influence over them because of this stuff. And Nick Bryant, the guy who did release the list in 2015, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So he made some like really crazy claims about Trump based on what Trump's biographer said. So like I still am stuck on like what Trump might be implicated with, because like they're saying stuff about Trump with 14-year-olds. Don't know if that's true, but like, how would the nation react to that? And like, how could Trump be being influenced if that's true and somebody's holding that over his head?
Humberto.
This is how I will do it, and we'll get some great television out of it. Release everything, and then have a live event. Wonderful. Trump sitting there. You have a podium. And if you got shit splash in an unfair way, you get 1 minute to explain yourself. We put everyone in line. We vet them with the DOJ. They have a file because all the slam dunks, they need to go straight to jail, all right? But the ones that are like on the gray area, they get 1 minute to stand on the podium and like, oh, I didn't know he was like this, like that. I got involved because of this. Everyone gets 1 minute, and we'll make them pass along with Trump clapping on the side.
David.
It's a no-brainer. Everyone who went to the island, I think the public is
that's
entitled to
100%.
know, period.
Or the ranch. The ranch.
The New Mexico ranch is freaky deaky
because
stuff
that's
as
where
well.
he was doing scientific experiments.
Yeah, he wanted to reproduce his own offspring
breeding.
Forever. And like Ehud Barak is a very good example, who was visiting him 30 some odd times in the period after his conviction, 2014 to 2017. And then his excuse is he was investing in a company that was involved in live streaming and geolocation.
Carbine.
Yeah, and invested $1 million, but we didn't know about his criminal activities. Horse crap, the former prime minister of Israel is not doing background checks on everybody he's going to visit in his private Manhattan apartment. It's implausible. Prince Andrew, it's implausible. And so at this point in time, nobody's going to view protect the innocent who might have had an indirect, unwitting association with Epstein from there were people on that list and weren't the list. There were people who went to the island, people who invested with Epstein, people who had business dealings with Epstein, were entitled to know. Howard Lutnick, standing behind Trump in one of those videos, bought a property from Epstein. Did he buy it from Epstein?
He was his neighbor.
It was his direct neighbor, but I think Epstein either helped him sell it or whatever. Direct next door neighbor. All right. I don't draw any nefarious conclusions from that. It's one hell of a coincidence. But that would be the type of guilt by association that someone would be within their rights to say, okay, I live next door to him. I didn't know what the hell was going on inside that house. And that's how it works. Nobody's saying don't disclose the fact that Lutnick lived next door to Epstein for a few years because it might implicate him through guilt by association. People are reasonable. But anybody who went to that island, that is, I'm going to say, a presumption of nefariousness, and it would be up to them to dispel that.
Do you think Netanyahu said something to Trump the day, like when he visited the other day, and then Trump came out with the strong statements about it?
No, but I was curious about the golden pager that was gifted to Trump. I was like, is that a congratulations or is that a warning? Because, dude, they gifted Trump. Netanyahu gifted Trump a golden pager.
Well, is that because Trump praised the way that they used the pagers against him?
That's the explanation. It's a real gold pager, and then Trump signed a picture. But I'm like, First of all, I was doing a live stream. Someone said, "Did you hear that Netanyahu gifted Trump a golden paper?" And they had a typo. I was like, "I didn't hear that. Look up golden paper. What does that mean?" Golden pager, and it's in there. It's a frame. It says, Operation Amazing Operation. They use that to blow up terrorists. To give that to the president in golden format, I appreciate some people are going to think that that's a, sharing a celebration of an intelligence operation that's second to none. I appreciate how some people could think that that's actually some form of like Italian mob boss, like warning, kiss on the forehead type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very common that, dignitaries, they give, like weapons, like a samurai sword or, like a Gurkha. Like, I don't know. Say what you want, but that operation was genius.
It was so genius.
Yeah, so
it was so genius. It makes you question intelligence failures. Of that led to 1,200 people being slaughtered over the course of 24 hours.
So let's wrap this up because I don't want the chat. I want to just get us up to date with all of the Epstein stuff as it lies now real quick, and then we'll move on to the Russiagate stuff. So the developments when it comes to Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, and the Epstein files, the Department of Justice and the House Oversight Committee are rushing to talk to Ghislaine. Pam Bondi has issued a directive to Deputy AG Todd Blanche. He has announced plans to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell to discuss possible disclosures about uncharged individuals involved in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network. Also coming out at the same time, the Trump administration is trying to downplay criticisms over the handling of the Epstein release, and Pam Bondi, at Donald Trump's direction, has formally asked a federal judge to unseal grand jury testimony from the cases of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The DOJ emphasized transparency, but pledged to redact victims' identities before any releases. And then I believe I saw last night that Ghislaine is going to be meeting with...
There's some interesting theories on that as to why they would publicly announce that Ghislaine Maxwell is going to cooperate, as if to say, hey, there's a rat who's going to talk. I said, you better protect her better than they protected Epstein in jail.
Do you guys remember how they busted and arrested Ghislaine Maxwell? I had to go back and look at this.
Five Guys, right?
What?
Is it Five Guys or In-N-Out Burger?
No. Wait.
Oh.
Dude,
what?
That might have been a joke.
Was it?
There is a joke there, but
Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested on July 2nd of 2020 in connection with the Jeffrey Epstein crimes. Here's what's weird. She was found hiding on a rural property in Bradford, New Hampshire. Oh. The property, which was named Tucked Away, was a luxurious home that she had purchased in December of 2019 for over $1 million in cash through an anonymous LLC, a limited liability corporation, to conceal her identity. Inside of that home, and this is a town that only has 2,000 residents, so it's very small. Imagine one of the world's most notorious sex traffickers is living in a home in your town and you have no idea. She had her own private security in the home that did all of her errands for her. They also, when they arrested her, they were former British military members that were providing...
wow, like mercenaries?
Yeah, providing security for her. Now, of course, her father had a lot of money, Robert Maxwell.
And good connections.
But we also know that Jeffrey Epstein, prior to dying, like the week before or the weeks before, transferred all of his money to a trust account that I don't know who oversees that account. But then when they busted Ghislaine in her house, one of the interesting things that I remember reading at the time, but it seems to have gotten memory hold, is when they went to confiscate some of the items, they found that she had a cell phone wrapped entirely in tinfoil on top of a desk. Now, prosecutors characterized this as a misguided effort to evade detection by law enforcement, possibly an attempt to block signals or tracking, but it all seems weird. She buys a home in straight cash for $1 million in an LLC. She has British Secret Service agents providing security for her. She has devices wrapped in tinfoil. She's hiding in a rural home. All of this sounds like she was hiding because she was in fear for her life. Then they put her in jail in 2020. She's been in jail for 5 years and she's still alive. And then all of a sudden, like you say, they do like a dog whistle. She's willing to cooperate. Is that code for, hey, we need to silence this?
What is it? Someone rid me of this troublesome priest. I forget the origins of the expression. What you described in terms of how they found her was someone who's in hiding, not necessarily from fear of arrest. If she wanted to evade arrest, she could have left the country. I presume she had more than one passport. She could have fled. She didn't. So I draw sort of not. She was involved in Epstein's dirty work. There's no question about it. But I don't read that as someone avoiding arrest or trying to evade arrest. She could have fled and gone to a non-extraditable country. She didn't.
So why hide?
I think fear of her life.
Her life. Correct.
And a quick tip of advice for everyone. If you're trying to disappear and hide yourself, don't go for this very, very small towns or the large cities. Stay in the middle. It's a lot easier to disappear if you do it that way. I lost half a decade, you know. Just
Okay. All right, let's move on. So, do you guys think, quickly, so we can wrap up, anything come from Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony?
Oh, I think that
They said it could be aired live on TV.
she won't be alive.
I think that she might be the reason for that letter that came out about Trump. I think she might have a lot of stuff that could implicate a lot of people, so she might have something in place to where a lot of things come out if she gets
dead
killed.
man switch.
Yeah.
They said John Maxwell, not John
McAfee.
John McAfee had one. And then my mom, I love her to death, but she claims that a direct energy weapon to help bring down the Champlain Towers. And remember when the condos collapsed over in Miami?
Yeah.
My mom claimed that, my mom says that John McAfee's dead man switch, he had an apartment in that complex, according to my mom. I can't find that
She
on
was
the internet.
right about the chemtrails.
She was right about the chemtrails,
And they took down the
also
Twin
Michelle
Tower.
Obama being a man, according to her, and Twin Towers.
Twin Towers, direct energy.
Unfortunately, Mother's been right more than she's been wrong. But her claim was that the reason why they used a DEW to bring those towers down was because John McAfee had a dead man switch hidden inside of an apartment in there, and that was going to go off because it happened right after his death.
Wow,
But,
that makes sense.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.